Welcome to the Tuesday Review. I'm Nathan.
I'm James.
And I'm Callum.
And tonight it's a very big news episode.
Yeah,
a lot's come out.
We've got so much to talk about this week. So much stuff happened that we're just going to record this sort of bonus episode. I'll release this one first because we're recording it first. And then if you're listening to this, the next episode will come out in a couple days' time. So first off, we'll just jump right in because we've got so much to talk about. First off, Netflix is making a He-Man animated series, show run by our boy, Kevin Smith.
Which is amazing. The only problem I have with this is that it's supposed to be a sequel to the original series.
Really?
Yeah, so it continues off with plot
I didn't
lines.
know that.
Yeah, so it's continuing off from where the old show left. It's not
it
new.
ties up loose ends and such.
I mean,
It's cool, but it's like
that's...
prior knowledge is always a bummer for me.
I mean, that's
there'll be a recap.
But the original 80s it was like a G.I. Joe cartoon. It was like made to sell toys. Like it wasn't like a narrative.
Yeah.
Like obviously it had a narrative, but you know what I mean.
Like all the best cartoons made to sell toys.
Yeah, exactly. Like it was not exactly. It's not like Twin Peaks.
It's not lore heavy.
Yeah, it's not like Twin Peaks returning after 30 years and or Cobra Kai. That's strange.
It's very strange. There's reports on the internet. Cartoon is not a reboot. Will finish, and in quotes here, unresolved stories from the 80s cartoon.
Oh god! Now I have to see what happened at the end of the 80s.
Which
cartoon.
is
because I know there was a movie with He-Man She-Ra team up movie. Did that come out after the series or during the series?
I have
run?
no
See,
idea.
so
This is the
strange.
only thing that
I'm actually less excited about it now.
Yeah, this is the only thing that's a bit of a bummer because now it's like.
Because, I mean, I love the He-Man, the Masters of the Universe, like, cartoon as much as anyone else.
Nah.
But, yeah, I mean, especially the memes, the laughing meme. But, I was excited, because when I heard this news, I was like, Kevin Smith, our boy, he's a good comic book
a good comic
writer.
book showrunner, yeah.
So, like, I was excited to him to be like, here's my take on the show, but I don't want it to be a comedy, because Kevin Smith, I guess, is known for comedy.
He's more reverent with the comic book stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when it comes to comic book, but like his movies are known to be funny, like, and his TV shows. But when he writes comic books, he writes like there's humor in it, but they're serious stories. That's why I was excited about this. So I'm like, I hope he just takes.
Well, look, I don't think you can't exactly take his Viewer's Universe humor and stick it into He-Man.
No, that's not what I mean.
I know what you mean, but I think it'll be all right.
Yeah.
I think that he would have been told, this is the direction we want, this is the aesthetic we want. Do you necessarily think they would give him free reign?
If it's... See, this is the thing, though. If it's a sequel to the 80s cartoon, is it going to become a parody? Like, like we just talked about the memes and...
My assumption would be it'll be straight. It's a literal sequel. You can't... What kind of risk are you taking if you do a whole directional change with a sequel?
Are they going to ape the animation? Or are they going to...
hope so.
This actually... See, Nathan, you've thrown me for a loop here because now I'm just going through all these scenarios and questions.
There's a lot of questions now.
We'll have to leave this discussion until there's more news, I think.
Yeah,
I
think so.
I was ready to talk about, Kevin Smith making his own He-Man show.
No, but it's not. Yeah.
But it's not. It's like a weird, what is this? Is it a joke?
It's being called a sequel.
Yeah, but what does that mean?
Sounds like Skeletor?
Yeah.
Skeletor,
Skeletor's behind this.
Yeah, Skeletor's definitely behind this.
Yeah, but no, I think if they approach it the right way, it could be fine. Like, it's just that thread of implied knowledge, required knowledge, sorry, is...
I'm sure, like I said, I'm sure you don't have to know a lot.
Yeah,
you get they're all uploaded on YouTube. Someone uploaded, the whole...
But yeah, let's hope we're not beholden to,
Yeah. The only other thing I'll say is that it's being animated by Powerhouse Animation, who do the Castlevania animated series on Netflix, which is really good.
So do we think it might be an anime show?
Well, I think they called it an anime show. This is why you saying it's a sequel. It's like, well, is it just going to be a modern... I guess it's going to be a modern anime, but...
Because I kind of like the
connected
old style.
to... Yeah, I like 80... They're cheap, they look cheap, but 80s Saturday morning cartoons...
They look alright. They look good.
They look pretty good. But yeah, they're a good animation studio, and got Kevin Smith behind it, so it's exciting. But
anything Netflix animation puts me in a little bit of a
Yeah.
corner because I don't like that 3D thing they're pushing, like that 3D anime
yeah,
style.
yeah.
But they actually, Netflix does a She-Ra cartoon anyway, and that's like a 2D animation. So
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
It's probably going
so
to be similar. Hopefully,
yeah, but I don't think Powerhouse does that. So this is going to be, I think, separate from that, and that's already up to like season 3 or 4. Like it's not connected to that in any way, I think. But yeah, it's interesting anyway.
we need more information.
Yeah.
Basically,
Actually, yeah, we'll talk about this again when there's more information. All right, moving on. Bond 25 is officially titled
No Time to Die.
No Time
I'm
to Die,
excited.
which
It's a good title.
I mean,
as
on
any.
one hand, it's a terrible title. On the other hand, it's a perfect title. I don't know.
I hope
It's
he
a
does.
title.
I want this to be the reset movie.
I find it.
Let
yeah,
it end.
I find it a kind of a funny title as well, because we were talking about Bond 25 a few weeks ago, and we were like, "What is? Are they going to kill him off, or are they going to pretend to kill him off,
Yeah.
and then bring in this new 007? Then he's going to return, and the fact that it's called No Time to Die." Is that a kind of meta wink kind
Yeah,
of...
like this is no time for us to be cancelling stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, this is no time for Bond to die.
And-
or is he actually going to die? And like, that's not going to happen either.
the other thing is, Daniel Craig's starting to look old.
Yeah.
At what point are you going to be like,
Man, wait till you get to Octopussy and A View to a Kill, and you'll see how old Roger Moore looks in that movie. Oh my
it's
God.
like we need a younger Bond now?
Well, I mean, it's just... Yeah, it's been so long between each Craig movie, and they've kind of gotten to a point now where they don't really... It looks like they don't know what they're doing, and it's like, so they need to kind of reboot it and get it, but it's
Having
also
said
at
that-
the end of his run, so it's kind of like...
The vague description that we do know of this movie, it sounds like an old school plot line.
But we talked about this again a few weeks ago, where they keep saying that,
Yeah.
but it's not.
Yeah.
They're going to screw it up, especially if they're doing this whole. There's a new 007 coming in, and he's getting replaced or whatever. That doesn't sound traditional at all.
No.
So,
But the font looks cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
But I mean, that doesn't mean anything. And apparently, it's set to release in April 2020, which is not that far.
No, that's
So
just
could we
around the
expect a
corner.
teaser trailer soon? Like a proper teaser
Maybe.
trailer, not that sort of
Yeah.
behind the scenes footage we
Yeah,
saw?
Instagram footage. Yeah, no. Hopefully, yeah. Also, I mean, it's probably going to get delayed. I'm pretty sure the last couple of Bond movies got delayed, and they have been having like a lot of trouble on the set and stuff. So we'll see how it goes. But that's what it's called. Don't know what it means.
Can we have Tom Cruise as the next Bond?
No, Bond has to be English. Leave it alone.
Yeah, and also
Didn't they have an Aussie as Bond at one point?
Yeah, and
So-
it was a terrible,
Okay, yeah, no.
terrible fucking movie.
George Leslie is not
we ignore that movie altogether, all right?
It's a
he
good-
was a model who they thought looked like James Bond, so they cast him in his shit. Let's move on.
Yeah. But yeah, Tom Cruise is already Austin Powers, so he can't play both Austin Powers and James Bond.
I suppose.
All right. Next topic, the big one for Callum at least.
The Wheel of Time.
Yeah, casting news for the Wheel of Time, Amazon's new fantasy
So,
series.
The Wheel of Time.
So give us
The context.
Callum, give us an overview of what the Wheel of Time is and what it's about.
So the Wheel of Time is a fantasy. I call it a franchise, but it's only books at the moment. But it's going to become a franchise once this TV
but
show drops.
it's like a series of
It's
fantasy
14
novels.
It's 14 full-length novels plus one prequel novel. So I think it averages. There's roughly 14,000 words all up, and it was inspired. In my opinion, it's inspired by Lord of the Rings.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
And essentially,
I think we talked about this. Every fantasy novel that came out after Lord of the Rings.
Tolkien's like, I'm going to do it one time. Pay
Yeah,
attention."
exactly.
Um,
And then everyone's like, "Yeah, we can do that as well. Like, we can copy that."
Ron
Yeah.
Howard narrates, no, they couldn't.
So essentially, it follows a band of people who are trying to essentially conquer, like, the Dark One, like the...
Yeah,
like
there's a Sauron-esque,
Yeah, exactly. There's
like
the,
an Eye of Sauron-esque dark
like the kind of like amorphous
entity.
evil entity. And there's like, there's like different schools of I should say factions instead of schools.
Yeah.
Of magic wielders.
Yeah.
Like there's one that's like that kind of lawful good where you have to abide by the rules or you'll be, jailed or whatever. And then there's the more rogue elements. And it's a very long, complicated story.
Yeah.
Political in nature, high fantasy.
I read somewhere that there's over like 2,800 named characters.
Sounds about right.
something
Yeah.
like that.
So essentially, it's. I can't give you an overview.
Yeah.
Other than
Imagine-
it's the typical fantasy quest. In which
Imagine
there
if
is-
Lord of the Rings went for 14 books.
Yeah.
And the hobbits were like young adults who practice magic.
Kinda, yeah. So
Kind of.
essentially, you have the chosen one
Yeah.
who is on a quest to defeat the Dark One.
Yeah.
Right. It's
Randall Thor.
Althor.
Randall. Randall.
Yeah. So essentially, it's based in what we can presume is it's essentially a medieval Europe.
Yeah.
And then halfway, there's so many different events that happen, but the big events are the children grow up, they have to leave their town, they go on to the big cities, different factions make themselves known, there is an invasion from a foreign army
Yeah.
to conquer the
Their home.
European
Yeah.
landmass,
Yeah.
and that all kind of climaxes in book 14 where, so I'm not going to ruin the ending, but
Yeah.
the
Big battle.
the big
Yeah.
battles happen,
Yeah.
things are not as resolved
Yeah.
as you think.
We should also mention that Robert Jordan, the author, died halfway through.
Yes, so he passed away. I'm not exactly sure what book, but it was towards
Yeah.
the later end.
Okay.
And Brandon Sanderson, I'm pretty sure, finished the novels
Yeah,
off.
I'm pretty sure it was.
Yeah.
And he did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
The one problem with the Wheel of Time is that there were so many plot points that were not resolved. So you finish the last book, and characters. It basically says characters just go on for journeys. So the last book sets up plot points about like things that I want to find out what
Yeah.
happened. How did those
wonder,
interactions
yeah.
go? And here's an interesting question I have for the listeners at home.
Hmm.
When you're reading, we'll get into what the casting means and where we think the show's going to go. But when on I think it's Twitter, there's like quotes from each of the cast members who talk about their character, and one of the characters will say, "Well, my character lost his family, and so this is his motivation." But these things don't really. They mention things which don't really happen in like the first part. So I'm like, what is this show going to be?
Yeah, we'll talk about that after we talk about the casting, but
Yeah.
it'll definitely be an adaptation of all the books and none of the books, if that makes
yeah,
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. So
They'll
yeah.
take bits and pieces from all 14 and mush it into like their one.
So essentially, if you're interested in a very, very long, complicated political romance fantasy drama, check out the books.
Yeah.
But
So-
by the grace of Jeff Bezos, it is also
Yeah.
coming to our
So
televisions.
Amazon, in addition to their giant billion-dollar Lord of the Rings series, they're also, and all their other fantasy and sci-fi shows that they're making, they're also making this into a series, which is crazy.
No, for context, this is not the first time someone's tried to make the Wheel of Time.
Best
there is a-
pilot ever.
Yeah, there is
look-
a terrifically terrible.
No, so you say this is not the first time someone tried to make... Yes, this is the first someone tried to make. The first time, they just wanted to keep the rights, so they filmed a
the
pilot
most bizarre.
on, like, in someone's house on a camcorder, maybe?
So yeah, there's a pilot on. You can see it on YouTube if you just look a Wheel of Time pilot.
Yeah.
And it doesn't
So-
explain any of the backstory.
The production company who owned the rights to make the books into a movie or TV show, they were going to lose the rights if they didn't
Yeah.
make something with it. So this is not unusual. They just put something together really quickly just so they could say, "Oh, we still want the
Yeah,
rights."
but no
And
backstory.
yeah, basically
Nothing.
it's like in an unfurnished mansion, which is probably in LA or something.
They filmed the porno right after they finished filming this. Probably.
Yeah. And they got Billy Zane to play the bad guy, and they got a plank of wood to play the good guy.
Luz Theron.
Yeah,
Lewis.
and
I know all the names.
and
Comes in the corner
he was
getting
named-
extremely
No, no, no.
triggered.
In one of the descriptions on one of the cable channels which actually aired this pilot,
Yeah.
the character was actually named Lewis in the description instead of Luz.
but basically, yeah, it's the cheapest, quickest. Like they're all in one. The whole thing takes place in one room, and they're just saying words at each other. It makes no sense.
It's fantastic.
It's not. It's not even half an hour. Maybe
No, it's like 20 minutes or something.
Yeah,
It
it's-
sucks. It
yeah.
sucks real bad.
I mean,
Anyway,
but
go
yeah,
watch it.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. It's horrible, but that was never a serious attempt at making it.
Anyway, it has come to this.
Yeah, so Amazon is now seriously making it into a, epic fantasy show. And, after Game of Thrones...
Yeah, I think they're trying to capitalize for good reason.
And this, this is obviously in addition to Lord of the Rings and their other fantasy shows.
I think what differentiates this from other properties is the fact that the Jordan estate seems to be 100% behind it, because Robert Jordan's widow has basically given Amazon her full support as well as the estates. And Brandon Sanderson is also on call.
Okay,
Why wouldn't you be?
I'm pretty sure he's on call.
Yeah, I mean, if you got a serious attempt, with money behind it.
Because the Wheel of Time's popular in fantasy circles,
yeah,
but it's not like Game of Thrones. It's not like Lord of the Rings.
Well, we talked about this. Game of Thrones wasn't that popular until the show came out. Like, really.
So I'm sure that I would like Harriet Jordan to make money.
Yeah.
I would like Brandon Sanderson to also try and preserve the integrity of the books.
I mean, we've talked about this before, but that's one thing I've never understood about the Tolkien estate. Why they're so combative about their IP.
Oh, no, I understand it. Like, you have essentially what's a perfect fantasy story.
But when people try to adapt it, they're told what they can and can't use, when really it should be, if you want to do it right, use everything you need.
Yeah. I like this. It's definitely understandable. You want to
preserve
make
the integrity.
Yeah, exactly. And you want to make sure that the people doing it are doing it justice. But also, in being so controlling and restrictive, sometimes that just makes things worse, and then it's going to end up being worse than if you just said, here's everything, and kind of do what. I mean, it's a double-edged sword kind of thing. And also, at the end of the day, these are people who didn't really create the work.
No, that's right.
They're just like living off the money that
they're just suits, right? They're just like office suits.
Exactly. Like, I mean, you can understand. Is it Christopher Tolkien?
Yep.
You can understand him being like, this was my dad's legacy. I want to. But also, it's kind of like, well, Chris didn't make it.
No.
So...
Don't worry, no. I'm sure JR would disapprove of everything. You know what I mean? Like, he seems he's the kind of guy who'd be like, no.
You think he'd be an Alan Moore about it?
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah. So I guess we should talk about the Wheel of Time. The cast has been announced. So Rosamund Pike was announced quite a while ago as the first cast member.
Yeah, quite a while ago. But I think that's also because she's one of the main casts.
Yeah, and she's also probably the biggest name in the cast so far.
Yeah.
So that was quite a while ago, and we'll talk about her character later. But recently, the kind of the main characters of this journey...
Yeah, like the main youths who are meant to save the world.
Their cast has been announced. So I guess first is Rand the protagonist?
Randall.
Al Thor.
His name's Rand.
Randall
Al Thor.
Randall Thor.
Is that Thor's cousin? Randall?
So he's the chosen one in this tale. But keep in mind, the way the book is structured, yes, he is like the chief.
There's five main characters, and he's the sort of slight main character.
So he's the only one he's the Frodo.
Yeah.
Right, he's the Frodo. But all of the characters in the book, at least, are more or less...
equally main characters.
He's the most equally important.
Yeah.
But they're all of equal importance.
Yeah.
So in the book, they each have their own chapters.
Yeah.
They each have a full story's worth of growth.
Maybe we should say Rosamund Pike is playing Moiraine.
Moiraine?
Yeah.
But I butcher these names.
Yeah, all these names are hard to. And she's like a sorceress, right?
Yeah, she's like a maternal teacher figure to guide them.
Yeah.
She's the Gandalf.
Yeah.
She's Gandalf.
So she comes to this town.
Yeah.
Looking for the chosen one and these magic practicing
the
young adults.
Aes Sedai, I believe they're called. Like, that's what the wizards are referred to as.
And she comes and she kind of assembles this team of friends. Are they friends? They're friends
they're
before.
all friends. Yeah.
They're friends. And she comes and she's like, we have to go fight.
Yeah, Rand, grab your buddies. We're going off to
on an adventure
chuck
to
the ring
fight
to
evil.
Doom.
Yeah, exactly. And so Rand
is the protagonist, he's played by Josh Stradowski.
Josha Stradowski, who I think is a Dutch actor.
Anyway, whatever he is, he looks beautiful, which is one of the problems I have with the cast.
Yeah,
I think you refer to it as the CW problem.
Yeah. Well, actually,
chiseled jaws and blonde hair all around.
I want to talk about how the adaptation I'm worried because it's about like 5 young, pretty people. I hope it doesn't just delve into
They're not
like,
that attractive
melodrama.
in the books.
Yeah, but it's like obviously it's understandable that they're gonna make them more pretty for the show. But like because of Game of Thrones, because of the Lord of the Rings, I'm hoping it just doesn't turn into a CW romantic melodrama.
The one thing I will say is if they are trying to capitalize on Game of Thrones had some pretty ugly characters. Some of the best characters.
Yeah.
Tyrion's not objectively
You
beautiful.
leave Tyrion alone.
No,
He's
Bronn-
beautiful.
Bronn is not objectively beautiful.
But compared to the book, he's gorgeous.
That's
because in
true.
the book, he's
Yeah.
more ugly. So they're always going to go for the more...
Well, even Lord of the Rings, with the exception of, people like Aragorn and so on, I wouldn't call any of the hobbits beautiful. As
They're
such.
all beautiful.
I don't know. They're pretty pretty.
I
They're
don't
all
know if
beautiful.
our
They're hobbits,
Samwise.
they're all
I don't know if our
beautiful.
Samwise would be down on Dawson's Creek.
Or I reckon Sean Astin back in the day, he could have gotten... Yeah, he could have definitely been on there. But anyway, what were we talking about?
How
Yeah.
pretty they are. It's
Yeah,
going to cause
so
problems for
I'm
the
ho-
romance drama. Range.
Not just that, but because the Wheel of Time books, they're not young adult books.
No, they're...
But because they feature young adult protagonists,
It makes it into young adult television.
yeah, I'm hoping that it's still an adult-oriented show. Like, I hope they don't try to like
No, I know what you mean.
CW it,
Yeah,
where it's
they're
like
going to change the demographic to suit
Yeah.
the visuals. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because
Yeah.
they seem so attractive, they might be like, hey, kids, here's our hip and cool young cast for
Yeah.
the new Wheel of Time show.
and it's like instead of like all the cool fantasy warrior stuff, it's
There's
actually
lots of pouting,
it's just pouting and like lots of Twilight bullshit like CW
longing glares.
Yeah, like didn't they? What was that? The Shannara Chronicles.
Oh, yeah, I
like,
never watched it.
Yeah, it's like I think that was a young adult book, but
Yeah.
they turn those into they want to turn them into romance dramas
Yeah,
for teenagers. I'm hoping that's not what they're doing here, especially when they got Amazon behind it. But anyway, let's go on to the next one.
We have Marcus Rudder as Perrin Abara.
Marcus Rutherford.
Oh, because
Where-
I'm
what are
reading
you
the
looking
Twitter.
at?
I'm reading the Twitter handles.
Oh no, that's don't look at Twitter handles are not. Yeah, Marcus Rutherford as Perrin.
Abara.
Yeah, who's like the muscle.
Yeah.
He's the big guy,
Yeah.
right? Madeline Madden as how do you say that? How do you say that? Egwene?
Egwene.
Egwene?
Egwene Alvear.
Yeah, she's like the female protagonist, right?
And Rand's love interest, at
Yeah.
least for like the first 8 books.
Yeah. If Rand is Harry Potter, she's Hermione. No, that's not
fair
a
enough.
good.
No, that's a fair enough comparison.
But what's interesting, she's an Australian actress, Indigenous Australian as well. So that's a pretty big break, big Amazon fantasy series.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Barney Harris as Matt Cawthorne.
Yep.
Is he the
He's
swordsman?
like he's a trickster.
Oh, no.
He-
Who's the swordsman? Or am I thinking of who's the guy in the front? Is that Rand? The guy on the front cover with the sword.
That'd be rare.
That's
They're
right.
all really bad, like cover arts though. So.
Oh, you say bad, I say awesome.
Rand will be the guy with the sword.
Yeah.
with the red hair,
Yeah, like blonde, I think. But anyway,
Matt's
yeah.
like the trickster sort of rogue type
Okay, yeah.
guy.
the rough and tumble fellow. Yeah.
And Zoe Robbins as
Nynaeve.
Nynaeve?
Is she too young for the role?
I look personally. I think she's far too young. She's supposed to be older than Rand by a few years because she's not quite like a
Yeah.
woman.
I've read the first few books, and she's supposed to be older than the rest of the group by
But
at least
how
a
much?
few years.
Yeah, see, my understanding was, and granted, I haven't read the books in a while.
Yeah.
But the difference was between 5 to 10 years older than the rest of them because she
Yeah.
was considered to be.
I mean, we'll talk about this now because the adaptation side of it, it's
Yeah.
like they might just be like, oh, they're all just friends. They're all just
Yeah,
the same
no.
age.
Which causes
Also,
problems.
yeah.
Going.
Also, like all these actors are like in their early 20s or whatever. Like they're not.
They could also just play it off.
They might,
as,
yeah, they might be playing teenagers. They might be playing mid 20s.
Also,
Like it doesn't really.
Also, we're looking at sort of cast shots here, so they might look completely different.
That's
when
true.
they're
There's no
in-
costume or
Yeah,
hair.
no.
or
There's
makeup.
no costume,
makeup,
hair,
yeah.
or makeup going
Yeah.
on, so it might work out fine in the show.
Also, if all the characters are 18 and she's 25,
Then
like
they look the same.
you know,
yeah,
it's-
No, it won't look. I don't think it'll be a problem.
no.
No. I think when we see them in dress, it'll be fine.
Because
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
all just very initial thoughts.
Yeah.
Because we don't even know. We don't even
No,
know
no,
what
yeah.
story elements are going to be doing.
Exactly,
So this
yeah.
is all preliminary
Yeah.
analysis.
So I think a while ago when we first talked about this, we were talking about the casting and how they should go the kind of Game of Thrones way of like casting all unknown actors, which is exactly what they did. Like these are all like British
Yeah.
and Australian.
Keeps them there for the long haul.
I think Zoe Robbins is Kiwi. It's just you get all the non-American, young
Yeah.
actors, unknown actors,
Man,
and
I
just
can't wait.
cast them all. So I think it's a good choice instead of trying to get all the famous A-listers.
I can't wait for them to be like, "Oh yeah, you're a man. You can't use magic, eh?"
Yeah, in the books, magic is very much a feminine pursuit.
Oh, that's interesting.
And there's a whole drama.
Oh, I guess that's why-
Eventually, men can use magic.
Yeah.
But that's a cause of much drama in the
So,
book.
putting it in a very broad perspective, at least in the start of the series,
Yeah.
there's like a taint on magic,
Yeah.
but it only affects men.
Yeah, so
So
essentially...
men, it's like if you consider it like the Force,
Yeah.
men, I guess, get lured by corruption and turn into Sith.
So-
Keeping
so-
it very gentle.
Yeah.
So essentially what happened was, in an ancient time long ago before, in a time far, far away,
Yeah.
essentially there was like the Dark One poisoned. So think of magic as a well.
Yeah.
Half of it's female, half of it's male.
Yeah.
The Dark One poisoned the male half.
Yeah.
So any male who uses this magic, or I believe it's called channeling in the books, essentially goes crazy and ends
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
up killing people.
See, this is all really interesting fantasy stuff. I hope it doesn't lead to melodrama of my pretty boyfriend is turning to the dark side. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
So-
I'm just really worried about anytime you have young protagonists, it's like, what are they going to do?
Yeah.
No smoldering glances.
Yeah.
Let's keep focus.
One smoldering glance every once in a while is
Yeah.
all right.
So yeah, essentially,
So basically, yeah, like the adaptation side of it, because there's 14 epic fantasy novels, and it's this huge world with all these characters and all these different continents or whatever.
so one thing I should say is just my final thought about the casting.
Yeah.
Is because the main continent in Wheel of Time
Yeah.
is essentially a European continent.
Yeah.
So in the book, there are people who are darker than others, but they would still be, by our modern standards, we would just still call them more or less white. It's like if you're from Spain and you're from European, you can't really call yourself a person of
But
color.
isn't there like an Asian continent as well in the book? Or like an African continent?
So there are occasionally characters who are of Asian appearance, but no one actually
it's
physically
different.
travels to those places.
Yeah, but they exist. Like there's
they'll come on boats
It's like
or
Lord of the
whatever, but
Rings.
not-
Like there's an Asia
Yeah,
part
but
somewhere else that you
They're
don't
not
really
very.
see.
They're not very frequent at least in the town in which these characters live.
Yeah.
Think about the town which the series should start in is like a backwater place
Yeah.
in Europe.
You-
It's
like,
like
you-
you don't get travelers
Yeah,
there.
medieval England basically it starts.
Yeah, kinda, and it's like you don't get travelers there. So the interesting thing is with the casting is a couple of the characters are people of color.
Yeah.
Which isn't a problem because I reckon they're gonna take a slaughterhouse to the source materials.
Oh, yeah,
They
we'll
could just
talk
use
about that.
whiteface.
No, but the interesting thing is, you could pull off like Perrin. That's fine because he's
Yeah.
like a
He's
swarthy
described
appearance.
as darker,
Yeah,
right?
but see, my assumption is the darkness in his skin is more like Mediterranean dark.
No,
Because
I
there's-
don't think any of it matters.
No,
Yeah.
no. But let me explain. So as I said, I think it's like book 6 or book 7 or whatever.
Yeah.
Somewhere in that range. There's an invasion from essentially the fantasy African continent.
Yeah.
I'm like, so what's interesting is they're either going to leave that out, or they're going to change it, or just ignore the ethnicities on the European landmass completely.
Yeah, I
which
think
is a
it's,
that's
likely
probably what they'll
scenario.
do.
yeah, I
That's
think
all
it's
they'll
going to
do.
be more like
Make it a different culture issue instead of a different sort of racial.
yeah.
But what I
area
mean, what I think they're going to do is they're just going to include diversity everywhere on the European
yeah.
landmass. So another, I think that's a
yeah.
good thing. I think that'll be more colourful.
I think Game of Thrones deals with it the best, where it's like Westeros is Europe.
Yeah.
Like most people, like people born there are Caucasian.
Yeah.
You know, there's the South, like there's the South where it's like people like Spanish, like a bit darker, and then there's the North, which is like Scotland and Ireland, like, and they're a bit fairer.
Pasty.
Yeah, but otherwise, like that's everyone there is Caucasian, and then you've got Essos, which is like a kind of Asia, Middle East, Africa, where people are darker and
Yeah.
But like the way they present it in the show is that yes, there are immigrants going
and
from
it's like-
to and from. So I think
It's like that in the Wheel of Time.
They
So
could do
in the
that
big
in the Wheel of
cities,
Time, yeah.
in the big cities, like the places where there's lots of trade,
Yeah.
there are absolutely people of all races and ethnicities.
Yeah.
But the interesting, like I said, the interesting thing is they're starting off with the characters in the
from
small
the small
backwater
town.
village,
Yeah.
and they're making at least 2 of them people of color,
Yeah.
which won't be a problem for the adaptation because I think they're going to change the
Yeah.
continent dramatically.
We'll talk about that as well. How, like I was saying, it's such a huge, epic series,
Yeah.
long series. Like they're just going to take bits and pieces from all the novels and
Yeah.
then boil it down to its essentials, and then rewrite it for
TV.
episodic television.
Yeah, so I think it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Because frankly, this is going to sound harsh, but what are the chances it's going to last 6, 7 seasons
Well,
when they're competing with Lord of the Rings in terms of budget?
This is what I want to talk about. Is if Amazon is serious about Lord of the Rings, how can they? I mean, Jeff Bezos has got more money than God, but it's like, how can they be serious about both at the same time?
Yeah,
You know, like that's why, like again, to bring it back to the kind of whole teen romance CW thing. Like, I hope they don't scale back the budget, you know, just to you know, so that
like less practical, more smoldering glances.
yeah.
Yeah.
But just on top of that, it's like, to tell this story, if you're not going to do, like, you know, 1 book a season, which I don't think they're going to go for 14
No.
seasons.
See, you know what? If they
So-
were doing Lord of the Rings, if this was their billion-dollar enterprise,
Oh, yeah.
I would say you could pull it off.
Oh, even 14 seasons, I think, is a bit like too wishful thinking, even if you're going to pump $1 billion in. But like, I feel like if they can get like 5 good seasons, maybe 6, maybe 7, like, and then they're obviously adapting
Streamline it, obviously.
Yeah, they're obviously going to adapt it for TV and cut things out and change things, and that's fine. It's an adaptation. But in doing so, one, I hope they actually get to do the whole story from start to finish the way they want to. And 2, like Game of Thrones, I hope they don't write themselves into a corner by changing things from the book that in later seasons are going to come back to bite them.
Well, the good thing about The Wheel of Time is it's done.
Yeah, but
Like, for better or worse.
So for argument's sake, even if Game of Thrones, the book series, had finished, there are things in Game of Thrones, like the first couple of seasons of the show, where they changed just to streamline. Like they combined characters and changed a few things just for the show, you know, to make it. Then in later seasons, they kind of wrote themselves into a corner because that thing they changed, they're
stuck with.
they couldn't adapt things that had happened in the book because they're stuck with their change that they made.
Yeah.
So just because you have a fully completed series, if you change something at the start, and then, you know,
No, I know what you mean.
in book 7, when something
Yeah.
happens that you haven't set up or you changed in your show, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so at least they've got Brandon Sanderson on hand.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing.
And
like,
he knows the content very well, because
Yeah.
I think he wrote like the last 4 books, maybe
Yeah.
5. I can't remember exactly. But so he would have a good understanding of the intricacies of the plot,
Yeah.
at least for the second half.
and he, like...
And he's just a good author.
I
People
think
like him anyway.
We talked about this, I think, once off air. I don't know if we talked about on air, but something about how when you're when you're like making a sequel or writing, you have to change your voice to match.
Yeah. So he did a pretty good job at copying Robert Jordan's
Exactly.
vernacular.
As-
So a lot of the words Robert Jordan would use, he kind of picked
Yeah,
up
The
on
writing
his own.
style.
As far as
Yeah.
I know, people were happy with how he finished
Yeah.
it off. Like,
Look, I personally think that he's not that good of an author. Like on his own works, like he tends to write video. Like one of his big series, which lots of people love, it's essentially all the magical systems is like video game systems. I
Okay.
don't like it at all.
yeah.
But when it comes to adapting Robert Jordan's work, he did a wonderful
good
job.
yeah.
He really,
So-
but that's because Robert Jordan left all kinds of notes, so he wasn't going in blind.
That's true, yeah. But like what I'm saying is the fact that he kind of knew how to take Robert Jordan's voice
Yeah.
and finish, he can maybe take that same thing to the
and
series.
apply it to a screenplay.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe he's not writing the screenplay, but he can
But he can help.
If he's an
Yeah.
advisor,
Yeah, he will be able to say, "This is how it should be
Consultant, yeah.
envisioned.
yeah.
This is what it should look like. Here's
Yeah.
how the characters should walk.
Exactly.
How
If
the
you're going to
characters
change
should-"
this, you have to change this.
Yeah, exactly. He
Yeah.
should have an understanding of the repercussions of
in you know,
any choices
yeah,
they make.
if you do this now in season 5, you're going to have to do this, you know.
I'm hoping they do the whole story, but it
Yeah.
wouldn't surprise me if they if they basically just remove half the story completely.
Oh, definitely. They'll cut out more than Lord of the Rings cut out,
Like,
more
don't get me
than
wrong.
Game of Thrones cut out. They'll cut out heaps.
I don't hold Wheel of Time to the same reverence in which I hold Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Robert Jordan was a good author, but he had a problem where he would insert entire themes
Yeah.
and he wouldn't explore them, or he would explain them away, or he wouldn't, like, you know...
He mentions
flesh
things
those out.
once, and,
Yeah.
and then he's never talking
He'll
about
mention
it.
something really incredible or really huge one time and then forget about it. And
For
everyone,
inst-
it's not mentioned again.
For instance, without spoiling anything, there's a mechanism they use to get from one location to another that they explore in one of the books, and then they completely forget
Yeah.
about, even when it would be extremely handy to remember that they did this thing in a previous book.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. So there are things which even me, you know, I mean, if you've listened to the show, you know I obsess over the integrity of source materials everywhere.
Integrity.
Yeah. My integrity.
That's right, my integrity. But there are things in the Wheel of Time which I think shouldn't be there, and I would love to see them removed from the TV show.
Yeah.
It
And-
just makes it so much easier.
Yeah, and just because of necessity,
And
they'd
like,
have to
seeing
remove
the
them,
contradictions in the show would also piss me off. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
like
that-
in the books, you like it'll mention something, but there's
Yeah.
a long time between books, right?
Yeah.
So when you'll
The-
read the
the
reading
kind of-
length is longer.
Probably. Yeah, the plot holes and inconsistencies
Will be more glaring
Yeah,
in the TV
especially when
show.
you can rewatch and people will go online and say,
Yeah.
look at this episode and then look at this episode,
Yeah.
which is what they do with Game of Thrones and
So like in a TV show, those inconsistencies and those plot holes will be tremendously more noticeable.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's why I did want them to do like a straight adaptation, but the more I think about it, the more I'm like,
Yeah.
I want them to have leg
It's
room.
better. Like you always say,
As long
It's-
as the
as long as the
essence,
essence,
is like maintained.
and as long as whatever they're changing, they know how to deal with that in the future.
Yeah, as like, you can't just change one thing and then have everything else.
And hopefully they don't just change things for the sake of it,
Yeah.
or change things it's
don't
easier.
subvert anything. Just
Yeah,
keep
exactly.
It,
Yeah.
Keep it fantasy.
Yeah.
Keep it nerdy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Keep it practical, please.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean,
It's not.
Yeah. Well,
Although, I mean,
As long as they
see.
don't make the magic too flashy, because
Yeah.
a lot of it's sword fights.
it's still that's true too. This has like a lot of fencing.
It's just
stuff,
a lot of
right?
sword fights,
Yeah.
basically.
magic's heavy shit in this series.
Yeah, it's not
So
used
It's not
all the
like
time.
it's not just like
Yeah.
throwing beams around.
Yeah.
It's like weaving or something. They weave threads
Yeah.
in the air.
You
or
only
something.
use it when you have to, kind of.
Yeah. and like if you use it, I think people can track you.
Which
So
actually
they use it
I'd
sparingly.
like to see that as well, because it's like when it's used, it'll be more special. It'll have
Yeah.
more weight to it.
Like
yeah.
using the Force in Star Wars movies.
Well,
or lightsaber
yeah,
battles, right? I
Yeah,
should
well,
say.
in the
Well,
original,
in the original trilogy,
right?
yeah, and then now it's just like everyone has a lightsaber every 5
More
seconds.
on that in the next episode
Oh
of the Tuesday
god,
review.
stay tuned. All right, should we move on, or you want to say anything else about Wheel of Time?
Well, they still haven't cast all the major characters.
Yeah, this is only the initial.
There's-
This is only
uh,
the kids.
There's still the guards. There's still the main protector for Moiraine hasn't been cast, Lan,
Yeah,
and he's like an Aragorn
Her-
type
her
of
bodyguard.
gentleman.
Oh, he was
Yeah.
a mad dude.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's a good character.
Okay.
He's basically Aragorn.
okay, cool.
Like basically, literally ripped off Aragorn
yeah,
in more ways than one. So stay tuned to the TV show.
yeah.
And there's also like the older bard who helps them on their travels hasn't been cast.
He's also highly
Tom
entertaining.
Merrilin.
and
I hope it's like Hugh Laurie or
Yeah,
someone
everyone's
like
saying
that.
Hugh Laurie, and that would be a fantastic idea. I think he would fit it really well. Or the
and
dude.
What about the villains?
No one's been cast in the villains yet.
Yeah.
I don't. So the villains in the Wheel of Time, it's like a Voldemort situation where
Yeah.
you've got the big bad guy off in the shadowy
Well,
distance.
yeah, I
with
think
his, like,
we
minions.
we were talking about it the other day, where I was like, "There's the Eye of Sauron, and then everyone else is just the minions."
Yeah, exactly.
There's no like Darth Vader
No.
or
And there's also like these like really dark creatures who don't have eyes who like go around hunting
Ooh,
people.
That's cool. I hope they make it scary.
Yeah, that'd be good. They're basically rip-off as ring
We'll
raids.
see.
Because like I said, Robert
Yeah.
Jordan ripped off like half the
Yeah.
stuff from Tolkien.
We'll see. I mean, I know The Witcher's Netflix, but we'll see when The Witcher comes out how they deal with it, and hopefully, because
I mean, looking good.
yeah, I mean, and yeah, it looks good from the trailer. So hopefully, whoever's making Wheel of Time on Amazon is like paying attention and.
I'm optimistic, which says a lot.
Yeah.
Considering I love the books, but I think that
There's competition
still-
though. There's fantasy competition.
yeah,
now.
that's the one thing I will say is they know they
But
have a whole lot of hard work ahead of them.
This is what we talked about when we talked about the
HBO
Witcher
has-
trailer.
The Witcher, HBO's Dark
but
Materials.
we talked about how I'm like everyone has to step up their game because everyone's doing it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can't. You're not just the only one
The
in
stakes are
town
higher.
anymore. Yeah, it's like
Why am I going to
You
watch a
can't-
shitty Wheel of Time when I can watch like a really
yeah.
good Witcher
Why
on Netflix?
why subscribe to Amazon when you've got all the Netflix content? Why subscribe to Disney? They all have to be competing to the point where they're all spending ridiculous amounts of money on. At some point, the bubble might burst, but at the moment, it's great because we're getting
Yeah.
all these big budget sci-fi and
Look,
fantasy
it doesn't
shows.
even have to be that expensive. It just has to be well written.
We talked about what did we talk about the other day where I was saying you don't have to show all the crazy action stuff all the time as long as you have good ones every once in a while.
Yeah, exactly right. So I'm optimistic, which says a lot, considering, I kind of get my hate on
Yeah,
for things that
straight
aren't
away.
adapted very well.
Why here? Tom Bombadil!
Yeah, I mean, look, still no Thomas Covenant adaptation, so...
Yeah, I don't hold your breath.
No, I won't. But it should be good. We'll keep you updated next time there's
Yeah.
an update if they
It's still
announce more
it's
casts.
still very very early days.
Yeah,
I don't think
so
they've even started.
Don't worry.
filming or
Wait
anything.
till some of the set pictures come out.
Then
There'll be nerd outs.
then we'll yeah.
Shall we move on?
Let's move on.
Moving on to Gamescom and well, mainly we're just talking about Death Stranding.
So Gamescom 2019, big game convention where they show off new technology and new games. Few games have been shown. There's a new Need for Speed, stuff like that. The new Marvel Avengers. Have we talked about the Avengers game on the show?
The Square Enix one, right?
Yeah.
I don't think we have.
No.
Should we talk about it very quickly?
Yeah, it looks
We
good.
can. It's got a lot of controversy because it's going for a photorealistic graphic style.
Yeah.
But they're not based on the MCU actors' versions of the characters, which for
It's-
some reason is triggering a lot of people.
I like that.
For me, I love that it's not based on the
Yeah.
MCU,
It's-
but I feel like it's not different enough. Like I feel like
Yeah.
they're in this uncomfortable balance
like
area
an
where
uncanny
We talked-
valley.
yeah, where they're trying to do both, and I feel like they
refer to the Sunrise Arcade episode from last week.
Oh, okay, I'll listen to that.
Basically, the issue is these characters look pretty much the same with the comics as well, right? So it's based off the comic
That's-
characters.
that's
The
true
actors
too.
that are cast are based off the comic characters.
Yeah.
So you're in a situation where the characters in the game are based off the comics, but also the MCU actors are based off the
Based on
comics in their
yeah.
design too.
But I'm just talking about like the costume designs.
Yeah.
Like yes, it's based on the comics, and yes, the MCU is based on the comics, so you're gonna end up with similarities. But I feel like they're doing this weird balancing act where they're like, we want people to recognize it from the movie, so we're going to add some certain padding to Captain America. We're going to add some certain things to here. So it's going to look a little bit like MCU, but it's not MCU because we want to make different, and the actors obviously
You know
aren't
what?
the same.
I want to say studio. I feel like that's a studio.
Yeah,
decision.
it feels like very much like a studio decision.
they could have gone MCU if they wanted.
I feel like they should have gone so
They
far.
probably
They should have
wanted
gone not cell shaded, but they should have gone more.
Yeah, I
comic
feel like
book.
they wanted to, and then someone at the top of the chain was like, make it look more like the movie,
Probably,
so we can
yeah.
capitalize
So,
more.
yeah, so it looks like a tie-in game, but it's not kind
Yeah.
of thing. Yeah,
The other problem with this thing is they also got competition in forms of like Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, which is going full comic book. And
yeah,
you
but
have
that's a very different game where that's
it
like.
is.
Actually, I want
But
to talk
they
about
want-
that. How
But like the sort of the whole nature of this game is at the end game, it's almost going to be wanting to compete with Destiny. Because there's multiplayer components and drop in, drop out online play with missions that you can only do with other people,
okay.
like dungeons and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
So it's hard to find. The game's going to have to play like it is now
yeah.
for the end game. So it's kind of a difficult. They're in a difficult situation if they change how it looks and how it
Oh
works
no,
too
they're
much.
obviously not going to change how it looks at
No.
this point.
No. I meant in the beginning when they were designing this game. It's
Yeah.
like they're like, well, if it's gonna be a competitor to Destiny, The Division, and all of these other games, it has to look a certain way. Pretty much to play similarly.
Yeah, but like I feel like you can do a photorealistic adaptation of the comics and make it look different to the MCU. At a certain point, there are things that are just going to look straight up the same, like Iron Man's armor. But I feel like just Captain America's armor and I mean
God
Thor,
forbid-
like
look,
Thor's different, but you know,
God
like
forbid they give them an original outfit. Like, I understand
Yeah.
they want to copy from the comics,
Yeah.
but who says they have to? Maybe it's
yeah.
a Marvel decision.
Also,
I don't know.
also because it's hard to explain.
I feel like it's difficult.
Anyway,
Yeah,
well,
it's definitely hard to-
maybe the versions of the suits and armors we're seeing are just the initial ones, and for all we know, there's like 100 ones that look, all look very
by the
unique.
nature
yeah.
of the game with online play, I'm
if it's
sure
any-
there are other collectible.
If it's anything like the Spider-Man game, you might be able to change outfits or
Yeah,
change...
of course. I reckon you will.
I have the inclination that I think we're going to be able to see different armor sets, different equipment, different
Yeah.
weapons, all
Yeah,
that kind of
different
stuff.
power-ups.
So
'Cause
maybe it
it's-
looks awkward initially, but then
Yeah.
once you kind of get into the meat, you can
I
all look
feel-
very unique.
I'm not judging it based on what we've seen yet. I want to
Yeah.
see more.
Yeah, I definitely have to
Because
see more.
I think
But-
from what they're telling us about how the game works,
Yeah.
it's going to be similar to a drop-in, drop-out game like Destiny
But-
or The Division or like
but-
those sorts of online.
But there is a campaign single-player mode, right?
Oh yeah, there's a single-player mode and then there's online
Yeah.
missions and
No,
stuff
no,
which continue the
'cause-
game's storyline after the campaign finishes.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, the gameplay we do see, I think, is really cool because
Yeah.
the best thing. There's a reason why like Arkham Asylum and the Spider-Man PS4 game like are so successful. It's because they make you feel like
A superhero.
a superhero. They make you feel like you're in that world, like you're that character. And this new Avengers game, it seems to do that as well. Like makes you feel like Iron Man, makes you feel like Thor, makes you feel like Hulk, makes you feel like Captain America, makes you feel like Black Widow. Like the things you can do,
They have weight.
they have weight, and they also like
Yeah.
there's different attacks, different power ups, and like when you're playing, like we were playing Ultimate Alliance, which is a kind of cell shaded, cartoonish looking game. It's basically like
A top-down.
yeah, like
action
a beat 'em
RPG.
up kind of RPG, like where you just
Isometric.
yeah, we're just kind
Yeah.
of smashing the attack button and killing a lot of guys, and you don't feel like a superhero. You just feel like you're playing any other game.
Yeah.
But whereas this game, it's because obviously it's a more intricate, more photorealistic game. It's like you actually feel like you're Iron Man. You can fly up, shoot little missiles out at targets. Fire your beam. Then you play as Hulk and you're jumping and smashing stuff, and he's lifting up cars and throwing them.
The mechanics feel very different between heroes.
Even though you're fighting non-superpowered enemies, like you're fighting guys with laser guns or whatever, like you still feel like powerful.
Yeah.
Like, but obviously there's a balance. You can't be too powerful because otherwise the game is, But yeah, like it's cool. Like you see Thor like throw his hammer at a guy and it like pins the guy to a wall, and then you can beat up all the other guys and then call the hammer back, stuff like that. It's really cool. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, the bit they showed is like the prologue to the game. Like, so the game actually takes place after that prologue kind of divides the Avengers, and there's like a devastating event. And so it'll be interesting to see what happens, later in the game where the Avengers have kind of split up and they're trying to deal with that, and you see like glimpses of all the enemies and stuff. So yeah, it'll be cool to see. Like
we need more information.
Yeah.
Again, we need the episode. The
This
title of this
whole-
episode
yeah.
is called "We Need More
We Need
Information."
More
Now,
information.
speaking of Gamescom and needing more information,
Death Stranding.
Death Stranding also made an appearance.
Oh my god!
So one thing we know for a fact about Death Stranding
Is that
is
it exists?
it's
Norman
a
Reedus.
game.
Norman Reedus.
Well, we don't know that for sure.
Norman Reedus gets out
It's
his
a
Norman
different-
penis.
Oh, Norman Reedus.
You don't get-
Norman Reedus carrying his Norman fetus, pulling out his Norman penis.
But you don't get to see it, which is fine.
No. Someone will mod. Someone will mod.
But
so
you can urinate in the game. Fact.
And
You
if
know
you
that-
keep urinating and come back later,
Yeah.
there might be a surprise for you. Apparently.
So let's start from the start. All right. So there's new Death Stranding footage. Still don't know what the fuck it's about. So Norman Reedus' character Sam is sleeping in the wilderness. So there's a sleep mechanic, we assume.
like any good travel game, you have to rest.
Exactly. Like any open world game, you can probably go like set up camp, sleep, and then go to the next day, so you don't have to walk around at night. Because if you've ever played any video game ever, walking around at night is very dangerous.
Always more dangerous than walking around during the
Yeah.
day.
So there's some sort of sleep mechanic probably, especially if the game's as huge as I think it is. It'll take place over a very long period of time, over a huge map. So then after you wake Sam up, you can urinate. So there's a gameplay mechanic.
I mean, it's realistic.
Yeah, which is Kojima in a nutshell, where he's just like, let's do a stupid little thing that you'd never do in another game. But yeah, when he pisses in a certain place, like a mushroom grows out of the ground. And Kojima said, if you keep pissing in the same place, when you come back later, you might find something. So what the guy's crazy. He's a mad genius. It's insane. So after that, Sam goes and he delivers his pack because the whole game he's basically the postman.
Yeah.
You know, like he connects America by going across the wilderness and connecting these little. We haven't seen any townships really yet, so I wonder if that's going to be in the game or if it's just going to be wilderness. But he goes to a little hut kind of thing and he delivers a package.
Man, the world owes Kevin Costner so much. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
no,
I
that's
feel
all
like
right.
he's a postman. That's my mind just went straight to the postman.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. We talked about it early, quite a while ago, where it's like Kojima. I think Kojima was watching a certain movie when he came up with the idea. But what's cool is you see this a map of the United States, and it says something like Eastern Region, and it's got like the East
Coast,
like the east third of the United States, and it's got like because Kojima has said it's about connecting the cities of America and like connecting strands, whatever the hell that means.
On that note, very quickly, he tweeted today, 6 hours ago, as of this recording. Since I get this question a lot, Death Stranding is different from stealth games. You can enjoy a first-person view, but it's not a first-person shooter. It's a brand new game genre that adapted the concept of Strand that we call action game. It's a Strand game genre, a social Strand system.
Yeah.
He tells us everything, and he tells us nothing.
He said from the very beginning that this is its own kind of genre, and it's all about connection and building the strands.
You know what's funny though?
So-
it comes out pretty soon, and yet we know nothing.
And
about
as
it.
I was saying to you and Nathan, like when the credits roll and we finish the game, we'll still have no fucking clue what the hell just happened.
In a good way.
No, in the best way possible, in the lynchiest way possible, where we're just like, don't know what happened, enjoyed it, yeah, but what's because there's this whole like social media aspect that
It's a multiplayer game, but it's not a multiplayer game.
Yeah, they haven't really revealed what that means. But anyway, we do see a map of like the whole eastern part of the United States, and like it seems to have tracked Sam's delivery journey, and he's connected certain strands. So I'm wondering, how big is the map? Is it the entire United States?
It'll be
Do you start on the East Coast and make your way to the West Coast?
It'll be an abridged version of it. I'm
obviously,
guessing,
obviously it won't be 1-to-1, but
How do you know?
and
I'm only joking.
No,
it's
but,
probably not going to be. But if anyone can do it,
yeah. But like, I think I was talking to you guys the other day. I'm like, we don't know. Like, there might. I think we mentioned on the show once where I was like, PT, like Silent Hills, like was supposed to have this kind of community aspect where people around from the world were supposed to work together to figure out PT.
And it took like half an hour.
And Kojima was surprised because it took half an hour for everyone to go on the internet and figure it out. And I think he's continued that idea into Death Stranding, where I was thinking, like, what if there's no end to the game until a certain amount of people do a certain thing or until people work together? But it's also not an online game as far as we know. It's not a multiplayer game.
It's online connected,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
we don't
but
know enough
There
information.
there might be a social media aspect to it, like you can connect to it on your phone. But is that
we might be delivering shit to each other.
Yeah,
Like, we don't...
yeah. Maybe if one person delivers to the other, you get I don't know.
There's a franchise called Mass Effect, which I'm sure everyone knows of. And in one of the, I think the second and third Mass Effect game, if you wanted to get the best ending, you had to play the online mode. And you earned points.
Okay.
So I wonder if it could be a system like that, where if you do a certain amount of things online, you earn points. If you get the most amount of points, you can get the best ending.
I wouldn't like that. But also,
it depends on how they integrate it.
Yeah, the way Kojima will integrate it, that'll be interesting.
Because if it's a single player experience and we're just sort of say, I'm delivering a package to you that might give you an extra advantage or more money or whatever it is.
And also because there's that layer of like, there's the land of the living and then there's that dark world, the land of the dead or whatever it is. And then there might be a third level, which is our reality.
Yeah.
Like us here now.
That's cool.
So I think that'll play into it. But how, who knows? We'll never know.
I'm excited. That's the other thing I know is I'm excited.
Oh, I'm so excited. But also, because we talked about how you can see Sam carrying an extra pair of boots on his backpack. And I was thinking like maybe your boots wear out over time. So the fact that there's this huge map and you have to walk across this area, and the fact that there's like a sleep mechanic and a urination mechanic, like there might be this. The game might take
I just hope this fast travel.
100. Yeah, I hope so. But the game might. I was actually thinking. I'm like, I bet you they don't put that in just to be Kojima to be Kojima. You
It's
know?
like, oh, you have to go back?
Yeah,
Sorry, buddy.
Because I know there's
Yeah.
a motorbike, so at some point you can move a little faster. But I bet you he'll be like, you know what? This map is the biggest map in any video game ever, but you have to walk across it in real time.
I'm down.
And you know, I'm not even mad.
No, I'm
usually,
down.
Usually, if a game did that, I'd be like, this is a broken piece of shit. Who would play this? Throw out the controller. But Kojima, I'm like, this guy's a genius. So
It's hard to believe, right? We're talking about this like it's some deep mystery. The game comes out 8th of November.
yeah, I know. It's really soon.
And he's showed us all this footage. We've seen characters. We've seen gameplay.
Oh, yeah, no,
I still
like,
have no clue.
It's like
Yeah.
the majority of the game's
Cool.
done.
Yeah.
Like there are people out there who know everything.
Yeah.
Come on the show, please. Email us. Contact our Twitter.
We talked about this. Kojima explained it all to Mads Mikkelsen, and he said, "I still have no clue what's going on."
We need to contact Norman Reedus. I think he has the inside information.
No, I think Norman Reedus and Kojima have like a simpatico.
They're besties.
Yeah, like I think they know what's going on.
You know, just before we change the subject.
Oh no, we're still
Oh,
half.
good.
We're not even halfway through the
good.
Death Stranding stuff.
What's funny is the rock band Bring Me the Horizon. I guess they ran into Kojima, and they tweeted out with "We're here with a real rock star." And so you just got like the singer Bring Me the Horizon with the Hideo Kojima.
Yeah.
And like he looks like
Well,
he's
he's in the video game world. He's the biggest rock
Ollie
star.
Ollie kind of looks nervous or whatever, and he's got this tiny Kojima guy.
We
I'm
talked
like, "That's
about this.
hilarious."
He's like the rock star
He
of
is.
video game
He's the
developers.
biggest. He's the biggest singular figure
Yeah.
in video. In
He's
like,
like-
video game nerds.
Yeah, he's like a punk kind of like out there.
It's like you got
like-
all video
it's
games.
like an art house.
He's an alternative video game
He's
developer.
he's like the David Lynch of the video game
Yeah,
world.
but he makes mainstream big success
Yeah.
games.
But they're also not mainstream at all.
That's true too.
Yeah.
Anyway, after Sam delivers his package, like he falls down a ravine, and his BB, which we've talked about on the show, the little baby that you carry that connects
Yeah.
you to the other side, like starts crying and screaming, and like starts flashing like his little artificial womb thing. Like I think it starts flashing red, or maybe I'm misremembering. But anyway, you can calm the baby down or the BB down by rocking the motion control on the PS4 controller and like gently rocking the BB back and forth. But if you shake it too hard, the BB will get angry.
Brain damage.
Yeah.
Don't shake babies,
So,
please.
Yeah, so you have to like gently rock the BB until it calms down. So that's the end of that gameplay section, and then we see a sort of exposition heavy kind of cutscene introducing the Dead Man character, played by Guillermo del Toro, or at least
Our favorite Del Toro.
Yeah, yes, maybe. But yeah, his outward look is Guillermo del Toro. They scanned him in,
But it's a different voice actor
The
and
voice
stuff,
actor
yeah.
is different. But Dead Man seems to be like a holographic AI helper guy who like can phase in and out, like he's like a projection. And he kind of runs the kind of BB, like a laboratory where the BBs Sam brings his BB and like you can, you sync it up.
Upgrade the baby.
Yeah, sort of. You put the artificial womb thing into this.
I watched the trailer, but I still had no idea what I was watching.
Oh, no clue. I just like all the crazy exposition and how like Kojima's created this insane huge world, and they talk about like the BBs are born from, they're called still mothers, who I guess are in like on their deathbeds or like in comas, and that's how the BB is able to connect to the real world and the underworld at the same time, because they're kind of halfway through.
So weird.
Yeah, and so when Sam connects to his BB, that's how he can connect to the
other side.
other side, and that's how he can sense the BTs, which are the invisible monster dark creature things.
Oh, I forgot. I forgot that one of my favorite actors is in the game.
Who?
He's in Twin Peaks. He's in 3 Billboards. Is he in 3 Billboards? The guy with the mo. He's what do you call it?
Go with the
He's
mo.
a super famous actor. He's in Twin Peaks and stuff. Oh my god.
Twin Peaks.
I'm pretty sure. Hold on, I'm gonna look this up.
Okay, let's continue.
I'm trying to think of who else
No, no,
is
no,
in this. Mads Mikkelsen, Norman Reedus, Guillermo del Toro, Nicholas Winding Refn, which is crazy. Margaret Qualley, which we'll talk about in a minute. Lindsay Wagner, I think is her name.
That's right. I'll get it up.
Who am I missing? Who else is in it?
I don't know.
I got it. Troy Baker,
Troy Baker's not in Twin Peaks.
isn't he?
What?
Troy Baker's a video game
Troy
actor.
Baker's a famous video game actor.
He's not in Twin Peaks.
He played Joel in Last of Us. He played Booker in BioShock Infinite.
Are you sure?
He's a huge video game actor.
Yeah, he's a massive
And he
video game
doesn't have a
actor.
mustache. He's never had a mustache.
I gotta look this up. Anyway, continue.
Callum, you have the worst like goldfish memory. Anyway, what was I talking about? Yeah, so Deadman is explaining to Sam about the BBs and the still mothers, and it's all this really interesting world building, and you have to like reduce the stress levels of the BB, because if you keep using the BB to detect BTs and connect to the other side, then the stress levels of the BB goes up. And Deadman says no BB on record has ever remained in service for more than a year. So like, he's like, don't get attached to it. And Sam's like, does that mean my BB is going to die? So I'm like, that might play into the game where you have to keep your BB alive. But if it dies, you could probably get another one. But it's like, does that have negative connotations? Really fucking interesting. Really excited. He also says, like, because Sam is like delivering these packages and connecting the United States.
Starting the US Postal Service.
Yeah, he's kind of like connecting.
I'm sorry. You know who I thought he was?
Oh, God. Who?
I thought he was John Hawkes.
You're the worst.
You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah. Oh, God.
I apologize. everyone.
Anyway, yeah, so he's connecting all these, and there's something called the chiral network where you connect all these strands and you go across America. And Deadman says, like, you know, the more chiral network, you know, you complete, the more strands you connect, the more old data, past data will recover. So you might, like, kind of like the Postman, it's like connecting everyone in the US, but recovering what was lost after the apocalyptic event.
Yeah.
And that might play into the social media, real world meta aspect.
You know what would be sick? If it's an ARG. So in our world, the data you get in the game goes towards solving whatever fake ARG goes on. That won't happen because that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
But if anyone could pull it off,
It's
Kojima.
Then we see the introduction of Mama, the character played by Margaret Qualley, who was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. She played Pussycat. She plays Mama in this game. And this cool thing as well, she has
a baby that's in the other side.
Yeah, she has a BT babe. BTs are usually these
Demons.
like
Sort of
ghost,
like
ghost, invisible ghost things that come up out of the underworld into the real world and like attack you. But her baby died, I guess, and but it's still connected to her with like an invisible umbilical cord. And like, you know, she can only stay in that area because if she leaves, she'll disconnect from the baby. Really interesting, really weird. Love it. I love everything about it.
Have we talked about that guy who kills himself repeatedly?
He doesn't kill himself.
Oh,
He only
yeah.
has 21 minutes
Oh,
to
yeah.
live.
And then he gets resurrected.
Nicholas, Hartman?
Hartman, I
Yeah,
think,
Nicholas Winding Refn.
Which is so cool because he has like short films and all that kind of stuff and music albums that only last 21 minutes.
Yeah, you know what's interesting? He goes to the Blu-ray shelf and he pulls it off, and then it comes up with the name. I'm like, can we watch those in the game? Or is that just Kojima doing a little flourish? Because he goes to, but when he pulls out the shelf, the camera kind of tilts and it kind of comes up with the name of the short film. And I was like, is that a mechanic where you can go up to the shelf? Maybe it's just a mechanic where you can
If it's a really early film that's like
if it's like an old silent film.
Yeah, it could be in public domain.
Maybe out of all the shelf, you can only take out the ones that they have the rights to.
Because movies,
That would
Yeah,
be
that'd
cool.
make
And then you
sense.
can watch, you put
Yeah.
them in the player and you watch
Early
them in
movies-
real time.
early movies in the public domain probably
Yeah.
a lot of them would
Like
be under
old,
20.
yeah, old silent movies probably.
That'd be cool. And then after the movie finishes, you watch Nicholas Money Ref die, and then he comes back
and
again.
he comes out, it's like, oh, sorry about
That's
that.
because I was watching that trailer. I'm like, that's weird, even for Kojima.
Oh man, everything in this is so weird, and I love
I love every minute of it.
I love
yeah,
it.
It's gonna be
I
so
can't
good.
wait for this game. I'm so excited.
Day one purchase.
Yeah,
More before day one.
yeah.
Pre-order purchase.
I'm gonna fly to Japan and be like, yeah, hook me up.
It's like, but sir, it's not in English. Doesn't matter. I'm not gonna be able to understand it anyway.
No one's gonna understand anyway. Well, we sort of run out of time, but we got one more thing to talk about. What should we do? Should we talk about quickly the Joker?
Yeah, we got.
Yeah, it's rated R. It's gonna be sick.
Yeah. So we were arguing a lot a few weeks ago or a few months ago. DC movies, they have to take a different route to Marvel. They can't keep trying to copy. Shazam was great, but I don't think they can sustain that for their
No.
new.
But this film seems to be unconnected to the larger
and so
DCU.
we were talking about how the Joker has to be standalone and it has to be R to deal with the dark
themes.
things that it
Apparently-
seems to be in the trailer, and it has been officially rated R, which is a very, very good sign.
Well, the movie's taken a lot of inspiration from Taxi Driver
Yeah,
and
King
what's
of-
that other
King of
Scorsese
Comedy.
one, and the King of Comedy.
yeah, yeah.
So it's got that dark undertone
but
through
like,
it.
we were afraid that they would have this PG-13 darkness.
Yeah.
like The Dark Knight is a dark, gritty movie, but it's still PG-13 at the
Yeah.
end of the day, even though Nolan does it so well. But it's great that this is R and they can go full. I'm sure DC will have a few rules, like I can't swear here, this, that, the
of
other.
course.
But like the fact that is R, it's a very good sign. And also, there's been rumors that the Suicide Squad 2 and Birds of Prey will also be R. And what does that mean for the Batman? The new Batman movie coming out. Does that mean that'll be R as well? That's maybe DC's best option is to just
Be
go,
because that'll differentiate them from Marvel. Be the R-rated guys.
Yeah, be the anti-Marvel, because Marvel, and we'll talk about in the next episode, Disney Plus, they're still very much in the safe, family-friendly zone. And really, other than Deadpool, which they now technically own, but we haven't seen what they're going to do with, they don't really, they're not going to dip their toe into the darker territory.
We'll see. We know these R-rated superhero movies make money. You look at Logan, you look at Deadpool.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm really excited about the Joker, but, we'll have to see, even if the Joker's good, we'll still have to see what DC does next, because I'm still not on board with them, and I'm still not sure they know what they're doing. And like we talked about quite a while ago, the Joker has to be standalone. I don't want it to be connected to the Batman. I don't want it to be connected to Suicide Squad 2.
Would you
But-
take a sequel?
To the Joker?
Yeah. Keep him in his own continuity.
no.
Maybe have him
I feel
against a
like-
completely separate, different actor Batman.
We'll see when it comes out, but I feel like standalone now is a dirty word almost, especially in terms of big superhero franchises. But they just need to make one good movie.
Yeah.
Don't
Like
worry about
Shazam.
don't worry about 7 movies down the line.
Worry about now.
Because that's going to
Yeah.
compromise your movie now. So I'm a little afraid that even though these movies might be rated R, because Suicide Squad was supposed to be a reboot, now it's looking more like a sequel. Birds of Prey is technically standalone, but it's still connected to Suicide Squad. The Batman was supposed to be standalone, but it might be connected to the Joker. It might be connected to Suicide Squad 2. I'm afraid that they're going to fall into the same trap that they were in, the same problems they were having before with their other DC universe, but now it's just going to be R-rated instead. You know what I mean? Like we're gonna get Man of Steel and Batman v Superman and Justice League, but they're going to be R-rated versions. It's still going to be a terrible, terrible franchise with horrible
But instead, we'll
adaptations
get like Frank
of
Miller
our
dialogue.
characters.
Do you know who I am? I'm the fucking Batman.
Exactly. That's 100% right. They're gonna do the same dumb shit, but even more edgy than Zack Snyder being like, "Grow up! You don't even know Batman." I'm really worried, but we'll see. This whole, like we said, what do we say this episode was called? This whole episode.
We need more information.
We need more information, and we'll get back to y'all. All right, so
That's all we have time for this special bonus episode.
yes. I'll upload this episode first, and then edit the second episode, and the next episode will come out in a couple days' time. So thanks everyone for listening. Like and share the Tuesday Review Facebook page. Follow us on Twitter at Tuesday Review AU. Follow me on Instagram at Channel Drifter, where I talk about all the movies we don't get to talk about on the show. You can find our previous episodes on your favorite podcasting app. If you like video games, check out Alan and Jake's show Sunrise Arcade. Our friend Matty J has his automotive show, Car Talk, TORQUE. You can Google those and find those podcasts as well. And make sure to rate, review, and subscribe to the Tuesday Review on iTunes. Adios, cousins.